There are lots of origami designs that resemble viruses. In fact, these are some of my favourite virus-like designs. Now this one was made by this woman, Tomoko Fusei, and when I was a kid I always used to love Tomoko Fusei models because I'd make them and the adults would say, "Oh, you must be such a clever boy to have made that." But I wasn't being clever. All that I was doing was copying simple shapes out of her books, and then I was slotting them together. Keep copying shapes, keep slotting them together, and you will eventually get this. There's only one shape, and so it's impossible to put it in the wrong place. And the shape is symmetrical, which means that it's impossible to get it the wrong way around. Now, she designed it that way, of course. She wanted to make something that could be assembled by an uncoordinated child. And so she looked around for a shape that could pretty much assemble itself, and she found this one. Now, viruses need a shape that can assemble itself as well. And they found the exact same shape. And it can almost seem supernatural when you see the resemblance and you hear that it's accidental. But it's not supernatural. It makes perfect sense. All that has happened is that the origamist and the virus have asked the same mathematical question. Because when you ask a mathematical question, always and everywhere, you will get the same answer. And that, fundamentally, is the reason why architecture can help model hepatitis, why origami can help model HIV, and why medieval Islamic art can help model Zika virus. On the other hand, though, here's measles virus. And while the vast majority of viruses can be modelled using symmetry, as you can see, measles virus is a complicated mess. And that's disappointing, but real science has to be about real things. And as much as we might like our pretty patterns, if the real world disagrees with our pretty patterns, we have to acknowledge it. So there you go. There's something else that we have to acknowledge, which is the human suffering that viruses cause. And so, measles, for example. Measles, since records began, has killed not 1 million people, not 10 million people, but 200 million people, which, to give you some idea, is more people killed than by Hitler, more people killed than by Stalin, more people killed certainly than by ISIS. Measles has killed more people than any human being who has ever lived. I mean, to be honest with you, fossil fuel company lobbyists might change that in future. But given that that's measles virus alone, you could reasonably say that viruses are the worst creatures in the world. But now that I've said that, I can tell you the reason why I wanted to show all of this to you, which is that when I think about virus patterns, and I think about their complexity, which has arisen without any conscious thought, when I think about their adaptability, which has allowed them to cover so many different possibilities, and above all when I think about their finality, by which I mean that viruses have been evolving and evolving for billions of years, and they've had to keep coming back to the same patterns, with pentagons in the same places, for example. And now humans are coming around to those patterns too. When I think about all of these things, it seems possible to me that viruses are some of the most beautiful creatures in the world too.